TCH was great throughout the entire process. There's a face-to-face relationship between Hostmaster and TCH. My engineer that was working on this was constantly talking to Brian, iteration after iteration of the design until we finally got to the final product. So when we design such a high temperature and pressure, the bellows must become stiffer to account for the temperature degrading the material and the increased stress created by the high pressure. This negatively impacts the spring rate of the bellows that would be required, thus eliminating the ability to use an expansion joint in that assembly, which is why we had to go away from pressure balance and ultimately land on the manifold design. A typical off-the-shelf solution just wasn't going to fit. It was a success story to be able to have everybody's needs addressed throughout the whole process. So the main obstacles were the length and the total force the joint would exert. The pressure-bound joint helps to negate pressure thrust of a piping system, but the bellows is still going to have a reactive spring force. One way to reduce the force is to have longer bellows in the assembly. But due to the length concerns, we couldn't find a combination of assembly length and spring rates that met the needs for the application. And then due to the manufacturing standards, it's sometimes difficult to get bellows geometries that balance out exactly to a net zero pressure thrust. And the previous design issues mentioned forced bellows geometries that would net a small amount of pressure thrust on the system, while the main component of the total assembly force was spring rates. The unbalanced portion of the pressure thrust pushed the total force even higher. So that was why we went away from a pressure balanced expansion joint. Due to the difficulties and the complexity of the whole project, it was great that it really turned into a wholly collaborative effort between Hostmaster and TCH, and ultimately coming up with what I believe was a winning solution for the end user. And ultimately that's always the important thing. This one in particular was special because of the effort it took and the combined forces of Hostmaster and TCH to develop a proper solution to a problem that really had never been solved before.